What's up, everyone? My name is Forsaken, and today we're going to talk about a very controversial subject. Well, as far as Battlefield 5 is concerned anyways. And that is the medic class. The most common opinion is that it sucks. And up until thinking a little deeper on the subject, there was an opinion that I shared. We begin with the medic's role, which is support. Not to be confused with the support class. I'm referring to the more traditional sense of the term, used most commonly in RPGs, where generically you have the trinity of support, tank, and damage, or more commonly referred to as DPS. And in this regard, each class has a specific, distinguished role to play. Roles where one class cannot pick up the slack of the others, and they are all interdependent upon their team for victory. That may seem unimportant as far as the classes within the Battlefield franchise are concerned, but we will readdress that. Let's consider the classes solely on their ability to do damage. The medic is intended for very close combat. This is where they shine the most, obviously. There is some overlap with, say, the support class, using not the definition of support that I have established earlier, but the actual class called support. They have the shotgun, so they have some overlap for close range. This is similar how the sniper has overlap with the assault class because the assault class has the DMRs. It's my opinion that if you average out the damage potential of all classes over every possible distance, the medic performs the worst. I personally would argue that the assault class has the advantage, but outside of close to medium distance with any other class, if you are coming against somebody who has a similar ability level, you're guaranteed to lose if all other things are equal, except for the classes that you are playing as, and you are not on the closest distances from one another. So, is this a problem? It's dependent upon how you play the game. If you are solely concerned with your KD, you may consider this to be a large problem. I don't believe the medic is solely intended to be used as a DPS character. Its most important job is to revive. The most powerful skill in any competitive game is the ability to revive. Healing is a large advantage. It helps out quite a bit, but it is trumped by revive. This is lessened to a point because your squad mates can revive you, and everybody has their own individual health pack that can be restored at every single capture point, which leaves the importance of the medic's class greatly diminished. When I got into the Battlefield franchise, it was Battlefield 3 and Battlefield 4. The medic was a god. For those of you who don't recall or didn't start playing the game until after the fact, not only could the medic do an insane amount of healing, but the revives were instant, and they had access to the assault rifles, which were hands down the best weapons in the game. You could run full squads of medics and be functionally immortal in infantry combat. So, what happened? Bluntly, the medics were nerfed. It was nerfed to balance the game and probably to appeal more towards the common folk, let's say. The question is, was it too much? I would say no. I miss Battlefield 4. I miss it. I miss it so much. Within the confines of the current iteration of the Battlefield franchise, the medic is no longer the unstoppable force of nature that it once was. I think the issue is that the medic is not being used as its role intends it to be. It is a rare occurrence to come across a random player who is really dedicated to the squad. It happens, I mean, there's no debate to that. More often than not, you just get John Wicks. They're trying to be a one-man army, using you solely for a spawn beacon, so when they die, they can respawn closer to the action. Typically with no concern for the squad, or even the objectives commonly. I feel that the medic serves its role very well when it is properly being played. If we refer back to that trinity of support, damage, and tank, there is no tanking character in Battlefield 5 short of actual tanks, so perhaps we should remove that term from consideration. I suppose it's debatable if the support class is actually to be considered a supportive character, because they are like a damage character with a subclass as support. A medic should not be on the front lines gallantly sacrificing their life to try to mow down a wave of enemies. They should be played tactfully, tactically, cautiously. When you lose your medic out of a squad, you are at a severe disadvantage. Unless you just have a squad of killers. This is where we discuss what I believe to be an absolute critical flaw in online multiplayer competitive gaming is. It's the teamwork. I myself favor playing as support roles because I always found myself wanting for a good support player. And by default, I mean, it's really a trope at this point. Like, I've never played Overwatch very much, and I never got to a point that I could play it proficiently, but even with the game out in the distance, the peripheral of my awareness, I know the quote-unquote, maybe you should play Mercy memes. Because if you aren't playing with a squad of friends, the glory doesn't come supporting the team. The glory comes with the high KD. The glory comes with the kill streaks, the squad wipes, the V1 rocket wreckage and carnage and blowing up tanks, visceral visual feats. I don't think that is anywhere near as valuable on the micro scale as a good support player. Support in the RPG term, referring specifically to the medic in this instance. I know that it's confusing and convoluted, but I cannot help myself but refer to a medic as a support class. Perhaps the term role is more applicable in this instance. On the macro scale, the John Wick one-man army is probably better served to the team as a whole if it's apples to apples. But I would trade a mediocre support player or medic on every squad than to have one squad of badasses. So in closing, even though the medic has changed drastically from what it once was, it's no longer the character that I wish it was, the way in which I would prefer to play a medic. I think it's for the best. I think that for the health of the game, it was a change that needed to be done. It prevents these long-range squads where they can just be endlessly revived. It forces all of the encounters to come closer together, which, you know, I've heard the debate that it's more to appeal to the Call of Duty crowd. that people don't really have the attention or time, but time is a huge factor to really learn to play tactically. The only issue is, for these games, and more specifically the medic class, because it is so dependent upon the rest of its squad, you need a good squad. You need teamwork, friends to play with, and unfortunately that's not always easy to come by.